and welcome to today's video. Do you like filming exciting moments when you're traveling, but then you often have a hard time finding the motivation to actually go through your footage and edit it to a final video? Well, for me, that very often happens when I didn't plan a story in advance and I have just some random footage. And that's why we are going to look into how you can apply or develop a basic structure for your travel videos with a basic storyline in place, even if you didn't do any planning. If you are new here, my name is Michael. I'm an enthusiastic hobby videographer, and my goal on this channel is to help you create great videos, to relive exciting moments and share with others. But now let's dive into the topic storytelling. Last Thursday, I was talking about how you can plan a story and what the basic story arc does consist. So basically it has an introduction at the beginning, then some rising action and the climax throughout the middle of the story, and then some falling action and the conclusion in the end. As mentioned in the last video, it usually helps if you have this basic story arc in mind when you are filming. But very often when you're on holidays, you probably didn't really plan or anticipate the story in advance, so you were just filming and you have some random footage lying around. I have that all the time when I'm on holiday, but when you're editing, you still want to have a basic story in place that helps to flow through the video. To show you that, we go through an example, a trip we did to Rawa Islands in Malaysia, which is very close to Singapore, about 1.5 years ago. We went there for a weekend to do our rescue diver certificate from PADI. And I didn't really film. I had some random drone shots of the island and some shots on the beach, but really not a lot and definitely not enough to tell a story. But I still want to do a very short video that kind of flows well. And then the first thing you need to do is obviously familiarize yourself with the content that you have. So gather everything and skim through so you get an idea of what you actually did during the trip, why you did go there, what you found super surprising, what you liked about the trip, etc. Then it's time to grab a piece of paper or a notebook and a pen and to outline the story. Well, this can also be in digital form. So the first thing I like to write down is a quick outline of the whole trip. So basically, what was the reason that we went there? In our case, that was the PADI Rescue Diver Certificate. Then, what was the highlights? Basically, what do you think of when you remember the trip? So for us, I was surprised how beautiful the beach was, and then also how small the whole island is. And then the third point, why would I go back? And in Rawa, for me, that would be for a short, relaxed break. Once I've written down the whole outline, quick outline of the trip, I try to list all the events that I could potentially include in the video. So this can be chronological or it doesn't need to be. Basically, just write down anything that you could include, from activities, things you've seen, foods you tasted, etc. And so I would then always go through this list, and for each activity or for each event, I would write down, do I have photos available? Do I have videos available? And then also as a third column where I list all the alternative media that I could use, for example, animated map or whatever. So the first event was the taxi drive from Singapore to Mersing, and then the boat ride from Mersing to Rawa. For both of those events, I don't have any photos or any footage, but I could include a map, and maybe I do have some driving footage lying around somewhere from Singapore which I could include. And then for the boat ride, I definitely didn't shoot anything, but I for sure have some pretty neutral boat ride from any other trip. So once I've listed all the events that I could potentially include, I quickly go through and see whether it makes sense. And in this trip, the main reason we went there, so basically doing the rescue diver, I don't really have enough material to include this or to make this part of the story. So I just scratched this out. So basically now I'm down to 4 different events that I could that I decided that I want to include. So I have the whole journey, which I can make one, and this is gonna be my beginning. And then I have footage from the hike to a viewpoint and also footage from the beach or the sunset at the beach. I will put the hike to the viewpoint as the middle and then the sunset as the end, because in a lot of travel videos, a sunset always makes kind of a good end because it also marks the end of the day. Now that we have outlined the story and we have a plan in mind, we can go into the editing software, which is Final Cut Pro 10 in my case, and start putting the video together. Okay, so editing is done, let's have a look at it. A fairly easy weekend trip from Singapore is to the island of Rava. It only took a 2-hour drive from Singapore to Mersing and then a quick boat ride to the island. Rava is so small, it only takes you a 15-minute walk from one side to the other, but the view you get when you hike to the top is absolutely amazing. And equally so was enjoying the sunset at the white sandy beach. An ideal trip for a short break to relax. And that was an example of my process, how I bring structure into random footage that I didn't plan in advance and still have a basic story arc in place. It's definitely not the greatest storyline, but at least it does have a little bit of a story flow, which you can follow along quite easy. So you might think, well, I don't know if it's really worth editing this footage because it's not much after all, and this was a very, very short video, right? But I think there is 2 main reasons why I still think it is beneficial to do so. The first one is you're actually using your footage. It's not that you have shot something and you just threw it away, because then you don't even need to shoot in the first place. And the second one, and that's the more important, by bringing in structure and actually going through the footage, you're getting more sensible towards storytelling, editing, and that will help you in the future when you are shooting something to be more aware of kind of what do you want to shoot, what do you need to shoot, and how you want to shoot it. Because while editing, you see a lot of things that kind of, oh, I should have shot it this way, or oh, I should have shot this. It would have been so much better. And that just helps you develop your skills as a videographer. Now you might say, Michael, thank you for the advice, but I just don't know how I can create such an animated map like you did. Well, then I would highly suggest you hit the subscribe button, because next Thursday I'm going to do a tutorial on the different ways how you can create a map like I did. And if you think this video was helpful in some way and did motivate you to go out and actually edit your footage from your last trip, then give it a like, I would really appreciate that. And other than that, I wish you a great weekend ahead, a great week ahead, and I really, really hope to see you next Thursday again. And until then, stay safe and healthy. Bye bye.